with, you know, Strally did a lot last game. I want to see what he does this game. Is he opts to move right into this treehouse, looking for an angle on that camouflage. And Nate's going to give him information that there's a player ahead of him. He's going to opt to get that camo and throws a beautifully placed nade to take down Expertise right there. I mean, you can't ask for much of a better execution when it comes to getting that camouflage, getting the kill, and then getting yourself in position from Strally right there as he finds a 5-shot on Taze. The man is, he's on a mission right now. You can definitely tell that he's feeling himself in his ace lobbies last.
Yeah, and his first life really goes to show how prioritizing your one job. If you're going treehouse for camo, you need to just go treehouse for camo, put your Nikes on and run straight through. Do not waste time standing top middle looking, you know, and trying to shoot cross map. And I think that's why Expertise, we saw him standing top on the opposite bridge, and he lost timing in the 1v1 to delay Strally for the camo. And he's still alive with the camo too, doing some work. Super important to watch your lanes. Doesn't seem like red team was able to capitalize though, so we'll see if they're gonna reset now. Straw's being aggressive.
That was kind of interesting right there because, you know, Strally finds that kill. He gets the stop on that flag return. There's another 2 players in his base. You feel like there would be someone else watching that flag. That wouldn't be his responsibility to stop that flag from being returned. I think that was an opportunity that red team had where they should have definitely got a flag cap, and it just didn't end up going that way. I'm sure they'll make some adjustments. It's the first game with this 4 stack running. They'll make their adjustments and they'll get better as the game proceeds on. But Expertise putting himself in that porch, throwing down some nades, trying to land down some damage. Unfortunately for him, he's going to get taken down, but he did keep some players in the back of their base. We'll see if blue team can get in position, find a couple kills. But so far, it seems when it comes to the slaying ability, I'd say firmly in the favor of red team thus far.
This was looking like for sure. Same thing with the camo control so far. The first camo going into red team. New camo's about to drop though, and Taze might be in position to make the top mid jump, or at least get to their side and make it difficult for red team to get a camo. But Strawley's already in position, shooting bodies. Strawley's going for the OBJ also. Looks like hopefully they're gonna get the camo, whoever's top mid. I don't see anyone there, so it could be up for grabbing right now for blue team.
Yeah, I think Strawley just saw the timing. He said, hey, I think I can get this flag in. I think I can get it back to my base by the time, and I'd lose that timing if I went for camo. They do eventually get the flag cap in. I still think that camo's up there. Yep, Swift 4 shots on it. But as he's getting this camouflage, the second flag is out. Oddity is Jeff is running it, and Swift Shot has quite a task ahead of him as all the red players are in their base. He's gonna have to find some critical kills in order for his team to get this return. It's going to start with his flag carrier. He gets the back smack in the event. He immediately de-challenges. Unfortunately for him, someone is just pinging him out. He's trying his best to stay alive, but what's so unfortunate is no one on the blue team there and ready to execute. And then he gets stuck on a person, man. You'd never see the 3 stack like that worked so well before. He gets stuck on the player. The player didn't even know what he was doing. And it ends up
I really thought blue
cup.
team was going to bring it back right there. It was best case scenario because we saw red team cap, which was the right play. Like you said, Alex Strawley knew, like, okay, I'm not going to lose timing on the camo. And we saw blue team secure the late camo, which is what I wanted to see. I was happy to see them secure it. And Taze was doing a good job playing for the camo, but that meat shield coming into play. Now we're in this similar situation again. Looks like red team might be able to pull this through, but we got a good flank from Taze again trying.
Ooh, and the flag.
Not looking good.
Yeah, no.
Okay, there it is.
That's actually, it's gonna get the return, but I want to see blue team take that next step, right? They've done a job. They've done it a couple times where the flag's been out. They get the kills necessary. They get the return, but then they don't translate that control that they got when they get the return into anything else. And Expertise is trying to change that narrative right now. He finds that kill in the base and he's pulling out this flag. He knows they're spawning over at the garage. He's gonna opt for the middle run. Let's see if he has the correct timing to get this thing into his base. He's getting shot from 2 players, but you know, you never expect to go on the death cam and just see a horde of red players running behind him to get the return. They got the railgun as well, but Taze trying to do his best. He finds 2 kills. The triple's ahead of him, and no, but he stays alive. Somehow, you know, that was Taze versus the world right there. They had the power weapon. They had the numbers in place. He somehow manages to find the kills, finds his life to go with it. And now he's already pushing himself into this position. I like this from Taze. He's inserting himself into the base. Sometimes, though, it's like, just, you can't let things come to you, you know? Just go and force that player. He knew there was a player in engine. I would like to maybe see him just push in for that player in engine. Now I feel as if he's lost his timing.
Now the interesting thing is that blue team is the team that knows when the camo is going to come up. Hopefully, I think Taze grabbed it last. Hopefully, he's relaying
I saw Expertise got the burn on the camouflage.
He already burned it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what Taze's plan is right here. I guess he's like hoping to to pull the flag without the opposing team knowing and getting it back to his base. But he pulls this flag, he's in the position to get it back to his base, but there's been no kills that went in their favor. And if the red team just keeps the player back and they find a couple kills, it's just going to immediately result in a return. But Taze plays the positioning well and finds the double kill. It's just that play that he made.
This was a really good pull, man. They got it through. It got them to give the standoff dilemma now. And I don't know how red team allowed that. That was like just the perfect timing from Taze to get that pull. So this is a good standoff dilemma. And they have numbers advantage. They could probably get this slay if Barry and Seth work together right here. This is a cap. But
oh, you know, that's so unfortunate. They both got kills across the map, and red team just ends up finding the kill and getting the base. But what I was gonna point out is that, like, it's a great job to get that flag back to your base. He did a wonderful job at realizing that, like, the numbers were never quite in his advantage. Then he played his positioning right. You know, he threw that flag out, he baited it, he expected players to be coming in. It's just that could have been a very dangerous pull where if he would have gotten caught out, it's just high risk, high reward, right? And he ends up executing well and getting that play in. It's just, I don't want to see players see that play that he made and then, you know, implement that into their everyday gameplay. You know, that was something that was very specific that happened. He saw the timing, he saw the opportunity, he got it in there. I just feel as if there was, when it came down to execution, Taze's team just fell that tad bit short. I feel as if they could have baited each other a little bit better. They could have done a little bit of a better job to get those slays. And when they got their slays, I feel as if they could have done a better job at playing for that next step and making them count. I feel as if almost every slay that went towards Straley's team, it was well executed upon. It resulted in something. While when it came to Taze's team, it seemed as if it was just stepping a step short.
yeah, I just want to see blue team stay more expanded, man. That's like really what I've been seeing a lot in these games over and over again is blue team staying. Yeah, like you said, they get some slays, but they're not capitalizing. I know at the end there, when it looked like red team's flag was gonna be returned, I think we saw the last blue player spawn in the silo, and he went top middle instead of going back to possibly help the flag if he gets in a 1v1, which he did. And when the flag carrier died, they got the return. Blue team got the third cap. So small things like that, noticing what needs to be done at the correct time. I think blue team is almost there.
Mm-hmm. Like you said, I think that's a good thing that any team could strive for, right? Especially like this is the time to practice that, is when you're in these 8s lobbies, is to just work on finding your outside in, making sure that you stay expanded, that you play your lanes. That's the best practice that you can get out of these 8s lobbies when you're not really running with that 4 stack that you normally play with. Just learning how to play your lane and playing it as effectively as possible.
All right, so we're gonna start off here with Alex. Charlie grabbing the sniper.
Yeah, I like Charlie with the sniper, man. He always manages to do something pretty with it. We'll see what he ends up doing. He finds a player in that ring too. Great positioning from him. Pretty. And then see, Barry still has a rocket left. You know, I'll stick with him, see what he's doing over in this ring. His players are gonna opt in. He does a great job positioning himself. Just waits for the players to push into him. He doesn't need to get that rockets to the opposing team. That being said, it feels as if this game, there's so much action going on, lads, but it feels so slow at the same time.
Yeah, it looks like blue team had the better of the opening start as the red team lost 2 players, and now it's just a battle for ring control. I'm not sure if who's got a sniper right now. Okay, Charlie still has it alive. He's being pushed by the enemy sniper.
They somehow trade each
other.
You
don't see that every day. You don't see the snipers getting in a close quarters battle usually on this map in the first minute of the game, right? Usually it's like, okay, if they're fighting each other, there's a standoff and they're sniping each other. So that was interesting.
No, it was interesting. Well, yeah, like you said, you don't see that often. And I think Strally really pushed that towards his team, because he had, remember, we went off with him. He had that sniper back in red BR, and he was the player that was in the opposite P street when all that went down. You know, that could have been highly effective. They spawn in the rocks. He's in the position to where he can just snipe out some players. Unfortunately for him, it doesn't quite go that way, and we have just a constant battle between these 2 snipers over in the courtyard since he's died.
Right, now Taze has a sniper and he's just baiting. Go get the other sniper ammo. Go stack it. Or if he's waiting for his teammate to get the other ammo, that's, you know.
I guess that works too. Just wait for the player to drop down in front of you, bro. That was such an interesting set of plays that happened. But Joy Slays is going to be the one that gets away with the sniper. See what he does. Only 1 bullet left in it. Does that mean there's still another sniper down there? I feel like there was a higher bullet sniper still there. I still think there's one there.
Yeah, like it looks like blue team was waiting to just, okay, I'll get the sniper and then they'll share their wealth, but that was a big timing loss, even though it still resulted in a kind of that funny backsmack kill. But, you know, it makes me wonder if maybe they would have just called that out, stacked a sniper, or just moved quickly and, you know, gotten into better positions to use that snipe. Red team is ahead by just 7. They got secure the rockets and ring control right now. You know, blue team answers back.
Beautiful nade by Oddity. Oddity so far executing well on each play that he's wanting to do, right? He shot that rocket, didn't kill him. He switches to his pistol, immediately finds that kill, throws a nade, finds his kill, and then eventually uses that rocket to find another kill. So playing his life well in the ring, maintaining their control. But as I say that, he pushes into the bonfire. I think he saw all the damage that came down towards him. He's like, oh boy, that was not the play. Gets himself back into that ring, and then eventually gets the help from Crusher. Oddity is playing his life extremely well right now, where he's just using his teammates to his advantage, always finding the correct position to challenge. And that being said, that was a 5-kill swing, I think, went towards his team that Oddity, I think, was largely responsible for.
Yeah, he was doing a really good job, like you were saying, living. We thought he was going to die in that bonfire, but he's still alive. It's, you know, slowly starting to pull away for red team, but it's still not gone. You know, we can easily see a swing back here. I'm wondering if blue team can start getting some control into ring 3. We haven't seen that. The couple times they've been up there, I think Strawley managed to pick them off as soon as blue team went up there. And we see red team in control of ring again, so this is just going to be... We know how this game goes, right? It's a big ring battle, and the only anomaly is where is the sniper position? Is he also in ring, or is he in a base? And that lets you know if you can rotate and flank, or if you have to push into ring first. I'm wondering if blue team can figure these out.
Yeah, I feel like the sniper, it's always so interesting, because that's really where we see different team compositions differ, is like how they play their sniper. Like we see Stu taking a really advanced forward position into these rocks to try to kill out the sniper in the opposite hut, and it might work out for him, right? He might be able to get in there, find a couple kills with that sniper in that unpredictable spot, while other players, you know, they opt to stay in their hut area, or they move into that ring 3 and they try to find their different angles. There's just so much open space on Refuge that you can really play a sniper to whatever style that you like, and it can be successful. And I don't think we've seen one style really reign supreme thus far in Halo 5 when it comes to Refuge.
Right, really just kind of, in my opinion, depends on what's going on the map and who you're playing, and figuring out if you need to be more passive and hold the base snipe, or if you need to be aggressive, and if you have a numbers advantage, right? You talked about moving the snipers and maybe controlling both huts and giving them the split spawns. Very advanced type of gameplay that you don't see too often on this map, because it's hard to sustain having ring control and both huts and splitting the enemy in the rock.
Right, I think Refuge is the largest map in the game, right? So that's such a tall ask for a team. But when you see a team do it, man, it's one of the most beautiful things you'll see. When you see everything, you see the thought process going through their heads, you see them blocking out each spawn, and they just start forcing the splits between the rocks, and they're beautifully collapsing. I love it when it happens. It's just such a hard thing to set up. And so far, these teams just going back and forth, added a 12-kill lead so far for this red team, as it seems as if they've just been holding that firm edge ever since we saw that original sniper battle over in the court. It seems as if the scores have remained somewhat stagnant. As for every kill this blue team has gotten, the red has just answered right on back.
Yeah, it's just been a trade fest. Looks like the story of this game was just whoever can control ring 2, and then the occasional collapse on the rock spawn, the single rock spawn. The red team was just always dominating ring all game. I'm not sure, you know, it's actually getting a little closer now. It's no longer a 10-point lead. So blue team's actually still in it, and if they can secure these rock slays here, they kind of have red in the split spawn now. They can turn around immediately. Everyone's collapsing, and we don't want to see this. All 4 blue players collapsing in on this one player. It shouldn't be a 4v1. I wanted to see Swift stay on the pink street and go ring 3 and be ready for these players, but now red team, even though they're only up by a few, they're also going to be ready for the rocket to play for it.
Right, that was my main concern, was that they got those splits, and then it seemed as if they slowed down. I would have liked to see those 2 players that were in the rocks just play as fast as possible. If you trade out a death, that's fine. You have to maintain that ring control while the split spawn's happening, or else you just give the map to the opposite team. But that being said, they've definitely they can definitely come back in this game. They had 2 snipers for the moment, the only 2 deaths to give up. Joy Slays and Taze playing as a partner, they have to use the snipe, and they have to find some picks now, and Joy Slays unfortunately gonna go fall down, and that's gonna do it, as the eventual collapse does come in. But like, that's an example of something that went so right? We're talking about that 12-kill lead that happened. They execute well, they get 4 players down, they force the split, but then it comes down to a macro issue that holds them back, where they had 4 players collapse on 1 player, and Oddity, although he didn't get a kill, him maintaining his life and forcing 4 players to come collapse back on him, generated that map control for his team, where they got the rockets, and then they got themselves in a position to where they really only had to play trade outs for the next couple kills and win that game for their team.
Yeah, it was really unfortunate. We saw, I think, honestly, the two players that were already in the rocks could have taken care of that player, and Eli and his pair could have both gone ring 3 and also helped. Instead, all 4 players went in to kill that player, and those are the things that are gonna they could have come back. They could have definitely came back there. Like you said, if they played aggressive and played fast and got ring control, rockets were about to drop. That was the time to come back right there. They had numbers, and they just
Yeah,
let it all go with
and
poor
it's like,
macro.
and
So
I don't think it's the fault of the players in rocks. I think it's the player that the two players that were in snipe hut. That pair just need to recognize that, have that trust in your teammates to find those kills, right? It's like you don't have to stand
100%.
there in the hut and look in those rocks. Have faith in your teammates that they're going to get that kills and play for that next step. Because when you're down by 12 kills, you just have to have that blind confidence, because it's not going to happen any other way. Your team just has to execute flawlessly for the next couple minutes, and you have to have faith in each one of your players that that execution is going to happen.
Right. So I'm wondering here, what's the split going to be here? Are they going to focus on the camo and the rockets? They're going to try to do both and be a little greedy. Looks like red team's doing a 2-2, 3-1 split. Looks like blue's doing a 2-2.
The Volunteers immediately going to find a fight in that bottom base. I want to see. I think Camouflage did get. No, Camouflage is still up. That's such an interesting style. I feel as if that blue team did what was needed in order to get that Camouflage control, and it just didn't materialize. That's interesting. That's something where you'd have to go back into the VOD and exactly see what happened, unless if you have some insight, Callus. But I just felt as if blue team was in position to get that camo.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure what happened, and I am eating, so I looked away when that happened. Timing.
Well, Strally has the rocket player next to him. He's able to get the punch out, and the trade does eventually come in, but those rockets going to be down on those stairs. Blue team starting to rake up some time, 30 seconds and counting. It's really going to come down. I think Joy Slays just found those rockets, so they're going to maintain their control just for a bit longer. One thing we do see is all 4 players are congested into this blue area. They're giving up most of the map control to get this time. And what that amounts to is now they really have to execute, find these kills. They can't afford to have the trade outs, because if they do go down and red team just maintains their control, they could be looking at having 30 seconds put onto them, as Expertise is the last player to stay alive. And that ball needed to go off, as red team is starting to get some points in order, and it's coming at the cost of map control for this blue team as well. It's everything just went into red team's favor in a second. And although it doesn't show up on the scoreboard, right, those are the kind of plays that you just can't have happen for every so often. Is like, you got those 44 points, but at what cost comes to the next step? If red team executes just a tad bit better, I think they could have put blue team in a nasty trap and gotten that 40 seconds themselves and maintain their map control, get the next Camouflage, take those next steps. But so far, it seems as if red team is starting to recover quite nicely. They just cut the score in about half. Rockets are coming up. Stu is going to be in position to fight for them, and he's going to easily win that fight and has his teammates spawn on him, so that he's going to know that the players are over at Pelican because of that information.
Oh, my goodness. There's another camo's late. Yeah, that was unfortunate, but it's still, you know, blue team's still in the lead. They seem like maybe they weren't aware of the Peli spawn, and they lost those slaves, but we'll see if they can secure the camo. That's really what I'm looking for now, is who can secure the camo, who can... Hopefully this ball can be played, because you know you can be a hard kill with the ball if you actually manage to hold it in the Pelican. And look, this is looking good for blue team. They got the camo. Taze has been on it. He's like always a man on top of these drops. And he's being aggressive. We know they're going to spawn top right on rockets, as we came from the blue and the Peli side. Now we have pizza. It's just looking pretty good.
Yeah, oh no, so they do have the ball right now. So the ball moved over to, yeah, I think this is great positioning from Taze, right? He makes sure he blocks out that Pelican spawn. Unfortunately for his team, they don't quite find those kills at the closet. But what it did was it afforded the room for that ball player to position, to rotate themselves over to that pizza, get some more ball time, and then eventually get the play out. So that was a great job to maintain those spawns for his team. It just comes down to that next step of execution that we haven't seen from the blue team. But so far, they've done a great job of holding out that oddball. I just want to see them do that next step, push that next step forward.
It's looking good here. Yeah, they got all the meta spots generally covered, and it looks like they're opting to hold the ball in the black Snickers ledge. And right now, I'd like to see Eli go to Peli and make sure like he's watching the blues. There it is. This is a good spawn, good setup here, good spacing. Could definitely see blue team kind of pull away here if they play the ball and don't let red team get free time. There it is.
They get the free time, and it just needs to come down to these kills. So the player just drops that ball into blue, tries to get away. Unfortunately for him, they're all gonna fall across the map as 2 players go down. I'm not quite sure what the thought process was right there, Laz, to pick up that ball and to just try to push it into blue when you didn't have any numbers. You weren't quite sure where the spawn was going to be coming in. and now red team taking advantage as Oddity's going to find a couple players out of position, landing down some shots, but no kills in the kill feed quite yet. He's going to try to pick up this ball and get the play. If he can get it around this corner, that could be absolutely massive for his team, as it's going to maintain a little bit of map control for his team. If it would have been stuck in blue, we'd be seeing some questionable things happening on the map.
Right. So I think everyone's kind of mindful now. This camo's dropping, the ball's played, so there's that dilemma going on here. Slaves are just trading back and forth. Looks like it's a 2v2 split. And blue team's ready for the camo, and this got a huge kill. Crush is going to secure the camo right now, and hopefully he's going to remember that time. 26 for the next spawn. Hopefully he's calling out for the team. If he had lived there, I would have loved to have seen him maybe back up, clamber on the Pelican, give himself a little bit more time and some options to actually slay, or at least delay. Oh. Barry.
Oh! It was so close,
They
man.
got the ball though. It's back and forth here.
No, I want to. Oh, sorry about that. I just.
Go ahead.
I wanted to shout out Taze because, you know, Crusher got that camouflage. Taze recognized it and was like, I cannot let this player get away. He immediately pushed forward. He had confidence in his shot. He bought enough time for his teammates to come in. They found that burn, and they have a relatively good idea of when that next camouflage is coming up. And while that results in some, it resulted in Crusher and crew just not getting away with it. I think if Crusher gets away with that camouflage, they get this ball time. They do even more damage than what they're currently doing right now. So shout out to Taze for the play that he made.
Yeah, he's been making plays, and he's been on top of all the drops too the last couple of games. Right now, this is, I think, the closest match we've seen for blue and red team here out of this series. Although this is a different kind of different configuration of players, it's very, very close right now, tied up neck to neck.
Yeah,
which can control the rockets here. Right, blue team's ready for the rockets, so I want to see that. Maybe they can use it to bait the ball. There's no real reason to go for the ball right now. He's doing a good job living. His team can flank and get the rockets here.
Oh, that's a little unfortunate. I think I think he saw the assist come in, and he thought it was the player that was behind him. Oh, that's fairly unfortunate for that team. But the ball is gonna go in the hands of Joy Slays, and I think Joy Slays was like looking for those rockets, didn't quite see them, and now rockets in the hands of Jeff. This has been such an interesting last 45 seconds, and this is why you don't move the ball into the dynamite, Laz. Is it just creates weird situations to where it's really hard to get that ball back under control. And you know, red team eventually got the control of the ball, but but blue team had to move that ball into that position. But great job by Swift to be on top this camo time.
Yeah, man, bringing the ball to dynamite, like you said, it's like, how do we play the ball? It's kind of a, it's not the best spot for the ball. You don't really have many options. You have to slay out and rotate the ball out to be able to have the option to play it and get into a better spot to hold it. But yeah, we see blue team again just controlling that camo. Did they already burn it? I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, it got burned. I mean, they just there's a nose for this blue team when it comes to track. I mean, for this for both these teams when it comes to tracking down this camouflage and finding the kill relatively quick. I don't think we've seen the camo played much of an impact this game yet, but these teams playing back and forth, and when we looked at the start of this game, it was a 44-0 lead for this blue team, and I'm kind of surprised to see them down at the moment. They're down by 20 seconds after they had just such an incredible start. I feel as if it's really been blow for blow towards the second half, of a bit of an advantage towards this red team.
Yeah, it seems like, I mean, it's hard to tell for sure, but it might be coming down to those rotations the team was doing. And like we see red team, they know, oh, player, he's already bringing the ball closer to the play spot, and as soon as he meets that blue enemy, he's already ready to play. He's not trying to milk it longer and possibly die and give blue team a setup inside blue with the ball as rockets are dropping. That's not what you want to do. So he played it, but still, we see blue team has the ball now. They might be able to. Yes, this is what you want to see. I want to see this comeback here because red team just needs a few seconds to win. But if he had secured that triple kill right there, I think this would have been awesome.
Well, even then, I mean, Expertise did a great job of getting that ball out. He's milking quite effectively. I mean, that was let's talk for a second about the execution that Joy Slays had right there. Obviously, you could have hit that last rocket shot, but you couldn't ask for anything much better. But that being said, Seth, like, you're on the Pelican, just turn around, throw the ball off the map, reset it, and then play for that camouflage. I feel as if this is just a dangerous spot to put that ball into. But that being said, red team seems allergic to the ball for just the time being, trying to buy as much time as possible. Stu lands down some damage over at the door. Fights going across the map. That ball is on the timer. Camo is up. They're going to opt to get the camo, leaving the ball to get reset. Let's see. think camo got burned once again. I don't know what it is about this game right now, Laz, but that camo has not been on the map for more than 45 seconds this game.
It's cursed, man. It's cursed. Or user error. I don't know. One of the two.
User error.
Yeah, we could have seen that play ball, like you said, right? Like blue team playing that ball instead of like allowing it to stay there. That seems to possibly be the reason why red team's just coming back. Better play balls, better rotations.
Right, and I think it's important for these teams to recognize that the ball has like a gravitational effect to it. If you drop it somewhere on the map, the entire composition of the map is going to change towards that ball. Players are going to push towards the ball. They want to make sure they have eyes on it. So when camouflage is coming up, you don't want to have a dead ball sitting on the camouflage spawn because it could unintentionally move players into position to play for that camouflage, where if you had the time for the ball, you could play that ball off, move players over towards the opposite part of the map, let your player have a one-on-one fight towards that camouflage, and not have to fight 4-on-4 for that ball. That being said, last 5 seconds coming on board. Charlie doing a great job of rotation. He has one player to beat. That player's going to get the kill at the last second. The ball is still alive, and they're trying their best to keep it that way. The ball is on a rotation. He does get taken down. I think the last second going to come in right here. Oh, man.
We love that. We love seeing that last second clutch right there.
Well, I think that does
Close
it for
game.
this series. Yeah, but absolutely. I think all the games except for that flag were relatively close. Unfortunately for blue team, it looked strong at the start, right? And we saw great potential plays. I think it came down to playing that ball. I think there was just one or two times where that ball should have been played. It didn't get played, and then the red team just took full advantage. I mean, even though at the beginning of the game, remember, we were talking about how that ball didn't get played out in the blue base. They had that 44 seconds, but they gave up another 20 seconds simply because the ball didn't get played. I think if the ball gets played, they limit the amount of time that red can get for free, and then they use that buffer zone to take that map. I think they lost the 30 seconds they needed, the 30 seconds that red team needed to win just by not playing that ball that game.
Yeah, man. I have to agree 100%. It came down to that ball rotations, the plays. You know, it gets me thinking they're trying to milk too hard, you know? Maybe just a little bit less milk. I mean, are you still on a ranch right now, Gary? Maybe you can talk to blue team about milking and, you know, the ins and outs of it for the future. You know, they got a ball here.
Right. It's like, it's so, I always like try to, you know, like there's a net benefit cost analysis that you have to do with every time that you play oddball. It's like, is it worth getting this extra 5 seconds and not playing the ball? Like, and I think it comes down largely to the map positioning that your team has, right? Like if your team is still somewhat set up towards the ball and you have confidence that your spawns are going to be close to the ball, I think it's fine. Like milk your time, get as much as you need, throw that ball into the middle where it's not played, use your pistol, buy some time for your team, and then reestablish your control. But the second you see a player spawn cross map, you have to move that ball into play position. You have to just, it can even work out for your team where if you get the right timing and play that ball and then you let it reset, your team reestablishes their control, play for that ball one more time. I think you have a more effective route to take that way. I just think there has to be that oddball player out there, because it's definitely not me. I'm not the best oddball player in the world, where we can have that masterclass of just having that innate timing to play that ball, whether to milk it and how to correctly play oddball.
Right, and we gotta let everyone know you are the best Empire Strongholds player.
Yeah, absolutely,
right?
man.
Not oddball. No.